everyone, and welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the author of The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, Own Your Health, and the 10th anniversary edition of Unprocessed, which you can get spiral bound from Amazon, pretty cool. And this is where I show you recipes for healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. Today I'm going to do a recipe from page 116, which is the quinoa salad with currants, pistachios, and pomegranate. But I don't have any currants or pistachios because the store near me didn't carry either of them. So I'm going to show you a great substitution you can make. You know, I think of recipes more as a template, at least ones that aren't dessert recipes. I think when you're baking, it's more of a science. You probably should follow the recipe exactly the first time. But I think cooking is more improvisational, and you can make substitutions based on what you have in the house, your preferences, allergies, things like that. So feel free to color outside the lines. This recipe is a fan favorite for years, and there are so many variations, and I'm going to show you the one that I'm making up right now. Because the truth is, even though I've written 4 books and probably over 500 recipes, I really don't follow recipes unless I'm baking. So I'm going to a potluck today, so I cooked the quinoa yesterday because I wanted it nice and chilled. The way I cook quinoa is in my Instant Pot electric pressure cooker using a ratio of 1 cup of the grain, well, quinoa technically is a pseudo grain, it's a seed, to 1.5 cups of water. And I use the 1 pound bag from Trader Joe's. I'm using the tricolor quinoa because it's pretty, but you could use white quinoa or you could use red quinoa. Any quinoa is fine. So I cook it 1 to 1.5 ratio for 2 minutes on high pressure, and then when it comes down to pressure, I unplug it, I let it come down to pressure naturally, and I just let it rest, and then it's perfect quinoa every time. So that's my preferred cooking method. So the dressing is really just lime juice. I made this recipe up years ago when a Whole Foods near me had a Chef AJ dedicated salad bar that was SOS free, and they wanted something for Christmas, and I was using white quinoa, and so I had like the green in it from the herbs and the red from the pomegranate seeds to kind of look like Christmas lights. So this was actually invented for Christmas, and whenever I brought it to people's homes, they're like, oh my God, the dressing's so delicious. What is it? It's really just lime juice. And I like to start up with a cup of lime juice. You can always add, but you can't take away, meaning you can always add more if that's not enough. And you could use lemon juice. I think lime's a little better. It's a little bit sweeter. You could use orange juice. And I'm going to show you some vinegar options you can use as well. So I just stir the juice in first just to get it absorbed. And of course you can taste it and add more if you like. And I'm using bottled organic lime juice because the limes at the store were rock hard. I knew they weren't going to release the juice, but when limes are good, I also use the zest of the lime. There's actually a flavor of California Balsamic that's fantastic in this called Persian lime that is wonderful that you can use if you didn't want to use lemon or lime juice. Other flavors that I've used in this salad that go really well are the mandarin orange, the crisp cucumber, and the island pineapple, but I'm just going to do the recipe with the juice and I'll taste it, and maybe I will shoot it with a little bit of the vinegar afterwards. I'll decide later. So herbs are a great way to flavor your food. There are so many health benefits, but especially if you're not using salt, herbs can really bump up the flavor. So I have 3 herbs, and I have scallions or green onions. I use the green part. I don't like to use the hard white part in this recipe. And I just try to cut everything the same size as possible, if possible using herb scissors. I have Italian parsley, which is a little bit different than curly parsley. It's more leaf, I think, and less stem, but I suppose curly would work. And this is what I think really makes the salad is fresh mint. And the salad is just so full of herbs. I like to use these herb scissors that were a gift from Dr. Hans Deal, if you saw a previous episode, because they just cut everything like basil and mint into these perfect little strips. I just think it's a lot easier than using a knife, and it's very easy to do. And I did all the herbs with these scissors, very easy, and I might just save this for a garnish. So I'll mix that in. And so far I'm following the recipe as written, and then the pomegranate seeds. Where I live, they seem to be in season all year round. If you live somewhere where they're not, you can see how pretty this is with the red and green, why I thought it was a Christmas recipe. You can actually often buy them frozen at stores or freeze them yourself, but they do add a pop of color and flavor. And this would be enough. We could serve this salad like this. People would love it, I assure you. The original recipe calls for currants, which I prefer to raisins because they're smaller and I think sweeter, but I couldn't find any. And then pistachios. I usually use raw and unsalted when I can find them, but I couldn't find them. If you are using nuts, my recommendation is to add them just before serving or they'll get soggy. So instead of nuts, I thought, well, I want that little crunch in there. What can I use? So I had some Persian cucumbers. Cucumbers are actually a fruit, believe it or not, because they have seeds, not a vegetable. And I love the taste of them, and it's a hot day, so I thought cucumbers would be a nice addition. And where would I get the sweetness? Because I didn't have currants, and I really just didn't feel like using raisins. So, blueberries. So much nutrition, beautiful color, and delicious. And that is it. I think that it looks a little bit dry to me, meaning I could use a little bit more dressing. And so instead of adding the lime juice, I think I am going to go ahead and add just a little bit of the cucumber, California Balsamic. Just going to drizzle it over the top. I don't know, maybe that was what, a quarter of a cup? It will add so much flavor, but again, just the juice is fine. So you can play around with it. Really, any fruit would work. Any dried fruit, cherries would be great. So there we have it, and I think people are really going to enjoy this. I think it's important to put things on a pretty plate if you can, even for a potluck. So this is an example of if I was serving at home. I always like to serve things over greens. Baby arugula is my favorite. I really want to get everything nice and mixed up though, so that none of the quinoa is dry. I suppose I've never tried this, but you could do it with millet. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I think millet is a delicious grain that's often underused. And so then I'm just going to take some and put it over the greens. I can do this with a big platter too. And then you can always have a little bit of lime juice or vinegar for people if they want to add more, but this looks like plenty to me. So there you have it, a delicious, refreshing summer quinoa salad. Thanks so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ. I hope you'll try this recipe. If you try it, you'll let me know if you like it, because I truly believe you can have both the health and the body that you so richly deserve. Take care.